You jumped to the end. What about us? What about you living on the property? What about you and me?
I don't even know who he is anymore, really. Like, he hasn't been in my house for 2 years.
All right, let's break this down because Janelle was on fire in that episode. Watching her calmly dismantle Kody's ego was everything. First off, Kody started off so jazzed to see her, practically beaming, like he thought things would magically work out in his favor. And then, boom, Janelle didn't hold back. When she looked him dead in the eye and told him he was selfish and self-absorbed, I mean, the audacity. I almost applauded right then and there. And his face? Absolute chef's kiss. But really, that whole "tell Savannah I love her" line, like, seriously, Kody, you can't pick up the phone and say it yourself? She practically had to spoon-feed him reality, and he still acted like the wounded one. And let's talk about her lawyer strategy. Janelle's no dummy. She's already met with one lawyer, but she subtly hinted that she has more to interview. This move isn't just about exploring her options. Oh no, she knows exactly what she's doing. By meeting with all the good lawyers, she's making sure he's left with the bottom of the barrel. Honestly, genius move, and he doesn't even see it coming. But of course, Kody couldn't keep his composure in the confessional. He ripped her apart once he was safely on that couch, proving he's the ultimate victim playing card dealer in this whole drama. And Robin, let's not even get started. She's hardly bewitched him, but neither of them can manage an ounce of accountability. Every time Janelle gets real with him, he twists it to make Robin look like some bullied saint, and she, not even close to innocent. And this whole Kody doesn't listen to anyone routine? Spare me. This is the same guy who bought into a hardcore religious sect without a second thought. He's been indoctrinated before, so it's not like he's some deep thinker immune to influence. Let's be real, he's found a new leader in Robin, who's guiding him away from the family and any real accountability. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Oh, the irony of "tell Savannah I love her." Right, like that's her job now? He really doesn't get it, and let's be honest, he never will. Kody is all about Kody, and Robin figured that out long ago. She knows just how to stroke his ego, so she's safe. But those other wives, they were just stepping stones to get him what he wanted. And here's the kicker, he's got a phone in his pocket, right? But calling his own kids with a quick, "Hey, I love you." Nope, apparently that's just too much. Like, he could literally copy-paste that text a dozen times, and he still won't do it. He had the nerve to ask Janelle to pass it along instead, and she should have hit him with, "Use your own phone, Kody. I told you I'm not playing messenger here. We aren't married. Not my job." And poor Savannah, she's been let down over and over. While he's busy ranting about how everyone supposedly betrayed him, he's the one who actually walked out on them. It's like some people don't get it. If you haven't been in a long-term relationship and then had to pick up the pieces and move on, maybe it's hard to understand Christine's timeline. But let's be real, Christine's journey is her own, and it's on her terms. To get it, you'd have to be emotionally mature enough to see where she's coming from. She was raised in a sheltered, conservative Mormon world and married young, almost as soon as she became an adult. Despite all the fame from the show, she still doesn't have a ton of life experience outside of her marriage. She's navigating this new love like a teenager, because that's honestly where her emotional life left off thanks to Kody. Her relationship with him never evolved, and her kids are a bit thrown by her new happiness, because they've never seen her in a relationship that actually has love in it. And yeah, it's a bit cringy, and yes, the kids might find it awkward to see their mom so openly in love. But Christine just got out of a 30-year relationship that was loveless. She's not waiting for anyone else to feel ready for her happiness. If her kids feel uncomfortable, maybe they should close their eyes because she's finally living for herself. Peyton's big masculine reaction was immature and toxic, a disrespectful response to a mother who's given everything. That whole Richard thing, that's a signal he doesn't care enough to even remember David's name. Some people think it's refreshing that not all her kids are supportive. That's just gross. Christine is 52, and she deserves a full life. If she's ready, she's ready. End of story. Respect that. And Mary, same thing. People can say all day long that she should have left sooner, and yes, Kody made it clear on camera that he was done. But let's not ignore all the manipulation behind the scenes. We saw Robin begging Mary to hang on, while she promised that Kody still talked about her being part of the family's future. No doubt, they fed her these same lines off camera too. And let's not forget that Kody encouraged her to come to Flagstaff, promising a fresh start. If he really didn't want her around, he had plenty of opportunities to tell her. But he needed her money, so he let her hold on. Kody's recent comments about Mary put the past in a new light. When Janelle mentioned that Kody's focus has always been on the younger kids, he agreed without hesitation. And that hit hard. Mary was the first wife, and because of infertility struggles, she never got the big family or the babies that Kody clearly prioritizes. Imagine how isolating that must have been, to feel left behind in a huge family. She watched him devote himself to the little kids year after year while she ended up alone. If that doesn't breed bitterness, what would? Mary's line about not being invited to their table and deciding to make her own speaks volumes. Once she was no longer in the young mom phase, she wasn't a priority for Kody, and the rest of the family followed his lead. Even during coronavirus, when she followed the rules exactly, she was still left out. Robin and Kody didn't invite her over, and Christine and Janelle didn't check in. Her loneliness wasn't just circumstantial, it was entrenched in the family dynamic. A small but telling detail, Christine's kids missed the other mom's food traditions so much that they made Mary's signature haystack dinner. But not a word about Mary herself, and certainly no invite. It's like she was already a ghost to them. And in the end, Mary got fed up with waiting for an invitation that would never come and just made her own table. Good for her. The family had pushed her to the sidelines for years, and the fact she finally walked away was well overdue. The dynamics in that family were powerful and toxic, with Kody as the puppet master. In any polygamous setup, the wives will try to curry favor to gain the husband's attention, and that includes shunning anyone he's shunning. That's why Kody's so furious that Janelle didn't join in to isolate Christine. Janelle's refusal to play his game broke the unspoken rule that the wives all side with him. Mary, unfortunately, bore the brunt of that system. She was cast as the difficult one, the one who deserved the treatment she got. And once the family bought into that image of her, she became the scapegoat. She fought it for years, but eventually the loneliness and frustration set in, and she began lashing out, feeding right into their narrative. Honestly, it's baffling how much criticism Mary still gets. Yes, she was strict, but she was also the glue in a lot of ways. She worked tirelessly to bring in money and wanted harmony in the family. She deserved more respect and support from the people she spent decades caring for. Christine's digs at Mary are starting to feel unnecessary and, honestly, a little tiring. If she's done with Mary, why not just be done? She's planning her wedding, found her soulmate, and has a fresh start, so why keep bringing Mary into the picture? For example, inviting Mary's child to the wedding, but not Mary herself feels a bit pointed. And mentioning things like Mary's ring being melted down or hinting at her being left out of holiday traditions. It's like she's subtly reminding everyone of Mary's outsider status, and it just feels petty. It's one thing if the two don't want a friendship, but if Christine's really moving on, why talk about Mary at all? It's not like Mary's out here bad-mouthing Christine. Ignoring her would say more than these little digs do. and it would reflect better on Christine as she tries to move forward. In fact, it's surprising how much we hear about Mary's past from Christine instead of Mary herself. From the Vegas days to holiday exclusions, Christine's shared plenty of details that don't seem necessary. It's as if she's got this need to put Mary's past treatment on display to validate her own feelings or justify the family's treatment of Mary. Yes, Mary has her faults, but so does everyone. Christine's flippant attitude when it comes to Mary is starting to feel callous rather than empowering. At this point, Christine has so much to look forward to with her new life. She's made her point, she's free, and she has her happy ending. Maybe now it's time to focus on that and let Mary fade into the past. Kody's backpedaling is unreal. The second Janelle mentions the idea of him buying her out, he suddenly wants to work things out. Right, because he only cares about us when his assets are on the line. For years, he's put zero effort into their relationship. But now that she's considering what's rightfully hers, suddenly he's invested. It's beyond frustrating to see Janelle still giving him the benefit of the doubt, but she handles it with incredible patience. In this episode, Janelle stayed calm and laser-focused on her goals. She knows Kody will manipulate and deflect, but she still went in with a strategy, trying to get him to acknowledge the issue on camera, because honestly, he's been avoiding real conversations with her for ages. She knew he'd try to talk in circles, and she wasn't about to be sidetracked. In the end, she came away with what she needed. Confirmation that Kody isn't willing to budge, so her next move has to be legal. She's done waiting for him to act fairly. And from the preview, it looks like she meets with Mary, which could be a game changer. If these two team up to fight for their shares of the property, Kody's in for a real wake-up call. Hopefully, Mary gives Janelle some advice on getting a release, and Janelle finally takes action to secure her future. It's about time she stops holding back and claims what's hers. It's so interesting to look back on Kody and Robin's early days and compare it to what we're seeing now with Christine and David. In Season 1, Robin was already calling Kody her soulmate 2 months in, with marriage discussions in full swing, despite living 4 hours apart. Meanwhile, Christine and David are on a similar track, but with more time spent together, yet they're getting flack for moving too fast. Both relationships moved quickly, and from the outside, they both seemed rushed. But it's ironic that Kody, who defended his whirlwind romance with Robin, now has issues with how quickly Christine's relationship is progressing. The irony really kicks in when you think about Kody and Robin's current marriage struggles. They're at the same point in their marriage as Kody and Christine were when Robin entered the family, and back then, Robin was quick to judge Christine, positioning herself as the perfect wife. Imagine if Kody were to bring in a new 31-year-old now. Robin would probably struggle even more than Christine did back then. It's a classic case of what goes around comes around. Robin's early condescension toward Christine and the other wives is now coming full circle, and it's no wonder that viewers find a certain poetic justice in the situation. Tony's screen presence is definitely a lot. Every time he shows up, it feels like he's trying to get a reaction with his comments, which rarely come off as funny and usually land somewhere between awkward and cringy. It's like he's constantly aiming for shock value, but instead, he just ends up being over the top. And Mykelti doesn't help matters. She seems to encourage his antics rather than setting any boundaries, which, let's be honest, would require a level of maturity that she doesn't exactly exude either. Honestly, they're kind of perfect for each other in that sense. Both seem to thrive on attention, and they'll do whatever it takes to be in the spotlight. If they rebranded themselves as the Look Hatton couple, it wouldn't feel far off. Imagine being their friend. It's probably exhausting. You'd likely find yourself limiting how often you see them, because their whole vibe feels like it would be overwhelming to deal with on a regular basis. It's no wonder people are rolling their eyes when they pop up on screen. They bring a certain chaos that's hard to ignore, but even harder to enjoy. Kody's latest claims about Coyote Pass are borderline absurd. First, he's acting like he'd actually move away if Janelle built on the property, as if this is some huge, insurmountable threat. Then he throws in that little gem about Janelle supposedly calling him every week if she moves there. What exactly does he think she'd need him for? Basic repairs? Kody seems to think he's some rugged handyman, yet we all know he's about as hands-on as a guy who needs instructions just to hang a picture frame. The whole manly man act doesn't quite hold up when you consider he probably doesn't even own a toolbox. And the work gloves, they're just a prop at this point. In the real world, you wouldn't need them unless you actually work with your hands, which Kody, with his pristine, soft palms, clearly doesn't. Watching him try to sell this whole scenario to Janelle, while also contradicting himself by admitting their relationship is over, just adds to the bad acting. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth, saying 1 minute he wants to reconcile, and the next minute he's threatening to move if she dares build. It's painful to watch them drag this storyline out, pretending there's a chance left between them when the writing's been on the wall for ages. This season is serving up some serious payoffs, and I am here for every bit of it. Janelle is taking back her power, Miri is finally finding her tribe and some happiness, and Christine is on her way to her true love story. What's not to love? The wave of hate surrounding the season is baffling to me. This is exactly the kind of drama we tune in for. And let's not forget the icing on the cake. Kody is getting boxed out and finally facing the consequences for his past behavior. Seeing Robin feel like an outsider, just like she made everyone else feel for years, is absolutely delicious. The producers deserve all the praise for capturing this chaos. Watching Kody squirm while trying to backtrack on his words during interviews is peak entertainment. That lunch scene with Janelle had me in stitches. He can't keep his story straight, and it's hilarious to watch him flounder. But I get why some folks are frustrated. It feels like they've cut out a lot of important footage over the past couple of years, especially after Garrison's death, and are trying to manufacture drama instead. Plus, it's clear that Kody's control freak tendencies are running wild. Everything feels a bit disjointed and pointless, especially when he's trying so hard to paint himself as the victim, which only makes him look worse. The highlights this season are definitely the moments with Janelle, Miri, and Christine. While Christine has always been my favorite, watching her navigate her newfound desperation for love can be tough, even though I totally understand it. There just isn't enough cohesive storytelling anymore. In the earlier seasons, we had a clear timeline and story arcs, complete with talking heads that gave us context. Now, it's just a hodgepodge of clips, mostly edited to make Kody and Robin look like the victims, which only backfires on them. It's a wild ride, but I'm here for it. I finally had a light bulb moment about Kody. It hit me that all his anger stems from one simple fact: he's losing. He's losing his wives, his children, his hair, and most importantly, his grip on control. This was glaringly obvious in the last couple of episodes. Kody is so used to manipulating his wives with attention and flirting to get what he wants. When Christine left, she simply gray-rocked him, and you could see it drove him absolutely mad. Then, with Miri getting her release, he pretended to suddenly care about her and wanted to revive their relationship. Now, with Janelle, he's trying to feign interest in their relationship, but it's painfully clear that his main concern is the property. His reaction when she mentioned speaking to a lawyer was priceless. He was shocked and furious that his usual charm and manly appeal had no effect on her. Kody's been tossing scraps to his original wives and kids for so long that he's completely flummoxed about what to do now that his manipulative tactics are falling flat. It's like a textbook case of narcissism. As soon as he started losing control, he morphed into an angry, resentful, and abusive version of himself. He loved his kids until they found their voices and started to assert their independence. The same goes for his ex-wives. Once they stopped being fully reliant on him, he discarded them and trampled over them with his abusive behavior. And let's talk about Kody's honesty, or lack thereof. In the last part of the show, he ranted about how Janelle is Christine's friend, and that's really the crux of his anger. In his world, everyone was supposed to shun Christine, but the only ones who did were Robin and her kids, and maybe Mary, but he hardly cares about her. That's why he's been such a jerk to Janelle and the kids. He also expressed his expectation that all his kids would grow up and live nearby, creating a little kingdom for himself where he'd be adored. Instead, he's left with just Robin and her kids, which can't be what he envisioned. He thought he'd be surrounded by a town of admirers singing his praises for eternity. But now he's just bitter, grappling with the realities of autonomy and consequences. As for Mary, he's still stinging from the public embarrassment of the catfishing scandal. When she said she needed space, that only fueled Kody's belief that she was being disloyal. Then there's Janelle, who seems to want to have it both ways. She talks smack about Kody but still calls him honey and claims to have feelings for him. That's disloyalty, plain and simple. Christine made her choice and left, while Janelle remains Kody's wife. I may not agree with the rules of their relationship, but you can't straddle the line like that. She's drawn her line in the sand and chosen Christine, but Kody is a polygamist, not her best friend. When she says otherwise, it doesn't come off as sincere. I'm glad she left Kody, but her lingering feelings for him are pretty sad. I bet it eats away at Robin that Christine has the big family she's always coveted. Christine has her 6 kids, Janelle's 6 kids, and yes, I'm still counting Garrison, Leon, and 8 stepkids from David. That adds up to a whopping 21 kids. Plus, she's still got Janelle as a sister wife. It's the big, happy family Robin has dreamed of, and Christine achieved it all without Kody. I hope Robin occasionally reflects on that and feels a twinge of regret for ruining everything. But honestly, I don't think it bothers her at all. Robin worked hard to dismantle that big family. She's right where she wants to be. You've hit the nail on the head. I went back and forth on this for a while, but the bottom line is that Robin's words never align with her actions. She claims she wants a big family, but deep down, I don't think she ever really did. In reality, I doubt she cares much about the others leaving, unless we're talking about the loss of income. I don't think she's bothered by Kody's lack of quality relationships with his other kids either. If anything, she's probably thrilled to be exactly where she wants to be. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.